In the book The Sabbath, Abraham Joshua Heschel attempts to address how humans should balance their relations with the world of space and the world of time. Heschel believes our broken relationship with space and time can be addressed if people take a middle path, a path where one balances the realm of time with the realm of space. Heschel uses the story of multiple rabbis to explain his point. In this story of multiple rabbis, the first rabbi, Rabbi Judah ben Ali, takes the side of the realm of space. On page 35, he praises the Romans for their material goods, such as bridges, roads, bathhouses, and marketplaces. All those goods are goods that are used in the realm of space. They are worldly goods used for worldly tasks and do not have any spiritual purpose. The Romans themselves were not particularly spiritual people. Actually, since ancient Rome was so large and mighty, it was seen as a god in itself to worship. But however much Rabbi Judah admired ancient Rome and the material goods that came from it, he was not dependent on those goods and did not seem obsessed against spirituality. About the second rabbi, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, he appears to take the side of the realm of time and seems to be very pro-spirituality. On page 35, he criticizes how all the many material goods that were made in ancient Rome were made to benefit the Romans themselves, not to aid other people. Page 41 details how Rabbi Shimon was not captivated by the transitory gain in the human world, as it only presented short-term benefits. On the other hand, Rabbi Shimon was at awe with the world presented by the Word of God, and just how everlasting it was. As a result, he found the permanent world in the realm of time much more rewarding. Eventually, Rabbi Shimon changes his view from scolding people for engaging in matters of the temporary world of space, such as farming or just engaging in any worldly occupation in general, to being accepting of the fact that it would be fine if just he and his son studied the Torah. I understand that his son didn't necessarily take that view to be true, but Rabbi Shimon did at the end. Now, here's a little bit about the third rabbi in question, Rabbi Elisha ben Abuya. This rabbi, on the other hand, was obsessed with the world of space. He was a heretic who would actively scold students studying the Torah. Page 45 and 46 noted how he went to schools and tried to convince students to refrain from studying the Torah and instead engage in more practical and worldly occupations. He goes beyond praising worldly items and ideas and viciously tears apart the realm of time, realm of time and anything spiritual. Now, how does Heschel respond to all of this? It was alluded to at the beginning of this presentation. However, page 46 really points to Heschel believing in a middle path, a path where one can work with things of space but have enough room to embrace eternity and the realm of time. And out of all the rabbis, Rabbi Judah best represents these views. Yes, Rabbi Judah. You see, he's able to admire ancient Rome's material items and goods. However, Rabbi Judah is not obsessed with those goods, and he's not denouncing spirituality. He's just saying he admires all these wonderful items and goods that the ancient Romans made. All of this discussion of balancing the realm of space with spirituality reminds me of society's current debate on social media usage. Social media has increasingly been recognized as toxic due to its impacts on people's happiness and mental health. With that said, people have different positions on how society goes about addressing all these problems that social media poses. There is one side consisting of people who believe social media is completely toxic it has no positives, and it must be banned, no exceptions, for vulnerable demographics such as children and teenagers. On the other hand, others may believe that social media is a source of absolute positivity and would certainly be against any attempts to ban it for certain demographics. And these people would think that those criticizing social media are just stuck in the past and are not able to embrace modernity. And still, others may take a middle ground, and I suspect a majority of society would be taking this middle ground. To note, these people would acknowledge that social media has some benefits, and we do need to live in a modern age that embraces those benefits of social media. However, they would also think that social media has credible and very detrimental negative effects that must be addressed. They would want steps to be taken to protect vulnerable demographics from harm on social media. Their positions may vary on exactly what those steps are, but they would definitely want them to be taken. Now, how does this debate about social media connect to the story of the rabbis that Heschel presents in the Sabbath? Well, this wide range of positions is very much tantamount to the different positions the rabbis took about matters of spirituality versus worldliness. Based on Heschel's middle way approach, if Heschel were alive today, I think it would be safe to assume that he would want us to take a middle stance on social media, a stance where people can enjoy its benefits and also see that it has negative effects. Heschel would understand that in order to effectively live in today's modern society, some social media usage would be ideal and even necessary, but he would also acknowledge that social media has some very negative effects, that it's not to be overused, and perhaps certain demographics should not be on social media at all. Heschel would likely perceive any obsession of social media and any obsession against social media as bad. This is all based on page 46, where he infers that people can enjoy the world of space and also seek spirituality, to seek a middle ground that allows people to not go down the worst of two paths. So just to wrap it all up there, Heschel would, or based on what Heschel's saying in the Sabbath about matters of spirituality versus matters of worldliness, I think it's reasonable to conclude that Heschel would want society today to take a middle ground on matters pertaining to social media, that it's important that it's okay to use it, and probably important to use it to effectively live in today's modern age, but also acknowledge that it's not to be abused, that it has problems, that perhaps some demographics should not be using it at all. Thank you very much for listening.